Welcome back to the Three Man Weave College Basketball Podcast. I am your host for the week, Jim Root, joined as always by Kai McEwen and Matthew Cox. We are ready to talk some ball here as we wrap up the month of January. March creeps ever closer. Kai, the sun is setting after 5 p.m. in Chicago now, so we're
Yes.
starting to feel optimism again, feel excitement. And of course, the college basketball world is about to heat up. We've got backloaded schedules in the SEC, the Big 12, the Big 10. We've got both Duke UNC matchups coming. We've got both UConn St. John's matchups coming. Get excited,
I'm
right,
I'm
Kai? Get
I'm very
excited.
excited. Yes, the standings are starting to take shape. We're starting to see a bit of a tourney picture. The records are getting bigger and bigger on Ken Palm. College basketball's dream. Also, the Super Bowl is soon, which means once that's over, Matthew, everyone looks at college basketball. We're the center of attention, and we love being the center of attention, don't we?
Attention whores, we are indeed. Great to see everyone. You two, specifically. Michigan State tonight, Jim. I am very excited about that one. And then the undercard, Kent State Akron. 10 miles of hate separate those two. Fun league this year at the MAC.
And there's also Dayton at SLU, which Dayton is kind of circling the drain, but it is the hottest ticket in St. Louis right now for the Billiken
Yes.
Blizzard. It's like
Blizzard.
$200 to get in the door there. So
March Baron.
Josh Schertz has SLU basketball back in action. We've got your standard in-season episode here, folks. We'll take you through a little bit of news and notes. A hello to, uh, I guess there's not really that many bits of news here, so it's going to be quick. Then we saw that. We'll talk about all the happenings of the past week, our takeaways from it. We've got three-man thoughts where we can go in whatever direction we want to discuss topics of our choice. A very brief preview section for the weekend. Reminder, we have our 10 a.m. Central Best Bets show on Saturday mornings. So you can check us out there for a lot more extensive previews, in-depth discussion of the weekend. So meet us there if that's what you're looking for. And then we'll finish up with a couple reviews from our loyal listeners at the very end, a couple fun questions that we're going to discuss. Remember, if you leave those, use them as a mailbag. That's what it's all about. We'll read them, we'll talk about them. That is the show. That's the plan. All right, quick before we get into it, a shout out to Jay Pitty, aka Joe Paskov, our composer of tunes at the top. Follow us on Twitter at 3MW_CBB, same handle on Instagram. You can find all of our content being pumped out there. Subscribe to the pod on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, etc., wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Please leave us reviews, as mentioned, on the Apple Podcast app. Those are the ones we read and use as mailbags, so that's where you want to check us out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel where we are currently airing live on Friday morning at 7 a.m. Central. Sharp. Get up, have your coffee, watch us talk ball. That's the way to go. And last but very much not least, Basket Under Review. That is what we are working towards, working for at all times in the season. The best college basketball site on the internet. You got great writers, great podcasts, myself included. Stats by Will and Jim. Check it out. You got the Basket Under Review podcast. You got Scout Team by Kevin Sweeney and Eric Fawcett. They just broke down SLU. They broke down Keaton Wagler's monster game against Purdue. You've got Will Warren's weekly, great articles. Matthew Winnick's writing stuff up there. The Ralph Report from Brian Ralph. Great guest articles from Joey Dwyer, etc. That's where you want to be if you're a college basketball fan, because you also get the Discord. So only $10 a month, you can talk to all kinds of college basketball junkies at all times, read all kinds of content. It is a college basketball fan's haven. That's what we've always professed ourselves to be, right, Kai? A safe haven for college hoops junkies.
That's
An
right.
Well,
oasis.
Basket Under Review is that.
Tagline. Yeah,
Yes.
our tagline. That's nice, Jim. Very good.
Exactly. Yep. So make sure you join Basket Under Review as we head to March. It's going to be the perfect place to be and headed into the off season with the transfer portal. That is where you want to be. All right, let's get into Roots Roundup, talk a little news and notes. And Matthew, before we do that, shout out to CBB Analytics, our Bible for college hoop stats.
That's right, Jim. CBBAnalytics.com, the holy grail of college basketball data and insights. As teased last week, some new features have been rolling out. We're trying to highlight those. And let's just put it to use right now. I want to highlight three conferences, Kai. Seeding matrices, a new tool, visual heat. We love heat maps, conditional
Yes.
formatting.
Sure do.
I think makes us, Randy.
Yes, does.
Um, After the big win last night, UC Irvine, overtime, and win by 11, got revenge against Hawaii. They're up to 53% to get the top seed in the Big West. Hawaii drops to 32. But how about your Gauchos at 12%?
Wow.
Kind of that sneaky dark horse at 3. I think nobody talking about the Gauchos, but they're kind of back with me or a little healthy.
Which is weird because we're always talking about the Gauchos preseason, and then It started
And then
off
they
last
don't.
couple years been a
Yeah.
little bit. Never mind. These guys suck. And yeah, 7-3. I didn't realize that in the Big West, Matt. They're rising fast.
Who is the top projected number one seed in the SEC gym?
Ooh,
Florida.
Yeah, by
got me
like
right.
a pretty hefty margin,
They're,
40%.
yeah, they're like
Arkansas
almost
next at
minus
like
20.
20%. I
Not in
know.
first,
So
not in first place right now. That is Texas A&M, which
Texas
is
yeah, it's
A&M
wild.
odds are
huh.
9% for them to get. Yeah, probably more likely to finish in that 3 to 4 range. But we'll see if that catches up to them. Last one I want to highlight though is WCC. We have Gonzaga playing St. Mary's this weekend. Gonzaga with a gaudy 80% chance to claim the 1 seed, but I think the battle for that number 2 spot is actually more intriguing. Santa Clara and St. Mary's both at like 10%, exactly neck and neck in Nick's projections here. So again, WCC that extra buy for this number 2 seed, huge. Claire is really good, so is St. Mary's. Should be a good one to watch him. But thank you to Nick and team at cbanalytics.com. Sign up today. Use our promo code WEEP, WEAVE. Get you $40 off your subscription. Thank you to Nick and team at cbbanalytics.com.
That's promo code Weave. If you weren't able to understand Matt's
WEAV.
turbo diarrhea mouth there.
WEAV.
You hit the
I said
fast
you, didn't
forward
I?
button.
W
Yeah, I'm
E
sure
A
anybody listening
V
on
E.
1.5 or 2x speed was like, what just happened? Why did I
People
hit
do. We
warp
know people
speed?
that do that too, which is absolutely
Oh yeah.
insane. I don't know how you
Yeah,
can
Yeah.
two
process
two's a little
information.
fast for me, but 1.5, I get it.
Yeah. All right. That's CVB Analytics. Okay. Let's talk quick key headline. The Charles Bediako case at Alabama continues to
Mm.
move barely, but the judge that was a $100,000 plus six-figure donor to the school has recused himself from the case. The NCAA filed like a motion or just at least like wrote a letter of a statement requesting that he do so. It is now another Alabama-based judge. Of course, that's the precinct where this is taking place. So I'm not like fully convinced this is suddenly going to lead to Bediako not being able to play. He is definitely playing two more games. The weather delayed the hearing on the temporary restraining order. So Kai, luckily, Mizzou got to face off Bediako and lose by 40 points.
Yeah.
But this is it's a big swing. I think if he's on the court and they get fully healthy with Holloway, Allen, Filan, their whole backcourt, that's a really freaking good team. And I think people kind of counted out Bediako because Alabama lost at home to Tennessee in the first game with him out there, but he played well, and they did not have Holloway or Allen, who are two very important players. So, Matt, I'm keeping a close eye on this. I think Alabama's still got a really high ceiling because I just expect the NCAA to lose in court.
I was looking all over for the best Bama title odds out there. I think there was some 30 to 40-ish to 1.
Yeah, there's still 10 to 1 Final Four out
10,
there.
right. So either one kind of in the same price range there. But yeah, I think I'm going to wait till Florida smokes them on Sunday, and then I might hop in and grab that. I think that's, and you're right, though. I mean, we haven't seen this team fully healthy really all year. Like, but we know the upside with Allen and Filan and Wrightsell being kind of that glue piece on the perimeter. So, yep, still in on Bama.
I have two comments. Number one, do we think Bediako was practicing with Alabama prior to getting eligible?
Maybe at some point, I
Or does he know the
this
play? He
happened.
remembers the plays.
Yeah, this
What do you
happened
think?
so fast. Like I was
Yeah.
like, oh, they're what really? They're going to try to get Bediako eligible, and then like 2 days later he was, and I don't know how long he'd been in Tuscaloosa or what, but yeah, this was rather crazy.
As long as Dennis Gates stops talking about Charles Bediako, I'm okay with him playing. He had an obsession with him in his press conferences. And lastly, I feel bad for whoever is losing minutes. Bediako back. I think that's my biggest thing for.
I don't feel bad for Noah Williamson.
No, I mean, has he played at all this season? I don't know, a little bit, but yeah, like
Poorly, yes.
Bull Bowen, probably sees less time, right? I guess Sherelle a little bit too. I don't know. Whatever. It's gonna happen.
He's got to support his guys.
Yeah.
It's got to support his guys, man. Why wouldn't I support my
Why
player
wouldn't
trying
I?
to earn his degree? Yeah, he's really going to be
Yeah, earn his
killing
degree.
himself in classes for the last half semester that he barely has to go to stay eligible. Yeah, Matt mentioned the Alabama-Florida game on Sunday. That's a huge one. Uh, Todd Golden has won four straight, or he's won three straight against Nate Oates and covered four straight. So it's kind of been a little bit of an ownership of Golden over Oates there. So one to keep an eye on Sunday. A massive, massive matchup. Nothing huge in the injury world, but I do think it's worth mentioning that Jaden Quainton's timeline is nebulous at best. Mark Pope will not commit to anything, whether he will for sure play again this year or not. Jalen Lowe already out for the year, broken foot for Cam Williams. Quainton's off that torn ACL. Kai, I just go back to like April when Quainton's dad was like, he's going to be fine by September.
Right.
Everybody recruit him, give him a giant bag. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. You don't get to know that like the day after he had surgery.
Yeah.
That was always kind of a sham.
Well, Jim, that's our society these days. You just say something, you say it's true, and people assume it's true, and that's how it works now. Kentucky, I expect them to get blown out by 25 more than winning 5 straight games. So I think that's closer to what we're going to see going forward when they lost to Vanderbilt versus their little stretch there where they actually played quite well without JQ and Lowe in the lineup.
Yeah, they've still got road games at Arkansas, Florida, Texas A&M,
Mm.
Auburn, and then home games at Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Florida. I'm not gonna say go run and race to do it, but Kentucky to miss the tournament at FanDuel is plus 285.
Hmm.
I'm not totally out on that idea.
Yeah.
I think they get blasted at Arkansas tomorrow. All right, the last little bit of news, the CBS Sports Classic, one of the fixtures on the college hoops calendar, typically the Saturday right before Christmas. In the past, it's been North Carolina, Kentucky, Ohio State, and UCLA as the fourth team. This year it was St. John's tagging in for a season because Mick Cronin hates traveling across the country. It is now going to be Kansas in as the fourth team, and it's renewed through 2030. Really exciting field. Kansas and Kentucky, of course, both in the Champions Classic as well. So you're going to have to avoid doubling up on those matchups. But I always like this one. They've always got a weird kind of unique court design because it's right before a holiday, before the break. You get to tune in on this doubleheader. It was the first thing I covered in person as a college basketball, our first big
Wow.
event. So I've always got a spot near and dear to my heart for the CBS Sports Classic, and I'm excited to see it continue. It's in Madison Square Garden next year.
Yeah. Uh, I guess good choice, I suppose. Solid program, Kansas.
Who will be coaching Kansas in the
Uh,
CBS
Good
Sports
program, good
Classic?
venue choice.
yeah, good,
Yeah.
good venue, good choice.
Let's see. World's most famous arena, top three program in the sport. Yeah, okay. Let's do it. That's it. That's all I got for Roots Roundup, guys. So let's get into We've Saw That, which is our little look back on the week that was. And to me, the big bullet point you got to start with was the Saturday freshman explosion. Just the storyline of the season in the sport. Keaton Wagler goes for 46, the most ever by a visiting player at Mackey Arena. Illinois is now on fire. They will get a little bit more love later in this episode. AJ Devonsa has 43 in BYU's rivalry win over Utah. Kingston Flemings goes for 42 in a tough road loss at Texas Tech. Three guys in the freshman class with 40 on a single day. The last 5 years combined had three 40 plus performances by freshmen. So
Whoa.
just goes to show you the top end talent that's there. And yeah, Cam Boozer's ho hum 32, 9, and 4. Darius Akov 31 and 6 and a come from behind Arkansas win. Nate Ament had a really big game. This class is ridiculous. I am currently, Kai, in process of writing an article trying to contextualize the class strength for the Athletic. That should hopefully come next week. And it just times up very well because, man, the top end of the class is great. The depth of the class is great. I'm glad it's here because we lost two classes to graduation and COVID graduation. And now we've got these studs just running up the sport.
It's unreal. 4 of the top 5 KenPom Player of the Year right now are freshmen. It's Wilson, Flemings, Debansa, and Boozer. Boozer, by the way, almost to Flag's rating for KenPom Player of the Year. He's almost hit it, which is very impressive because Flag had a gaudy number, one of the highest we've seen in years.
Quick trivia. So there's four of the top five are freshmen. In the last 3 years, how many of the 30 in the top 10 have been freshmen?
Hmm. How many? Last 30 years?
Last 3 years, how many of the
3 years.
top 10 candidates
Very,
each? So
yeah,
30
very little.
players.
This is 2.
4.
Two is the correct answer. Cooper
Wow.
Flag last year, and then Brandon Miller was up there
Makes sense.
when he was a freshman. But
Oh, okay.
nobody in the class of like the season of 23-24, that freshman class was doo-doo paper. Just absolutely terrible. Like high end talent, depth, none of it. And then you compare it to this year and it's outrageous. And I saw somebody remarking about how bad the 2024 NBA draft was. I was like, yeah, it's because the freshman class sucked.
Is
It's
that
very
Dame's?
straight line.
Is that Sar? Alex
Yeah, that
Sar?
was like Reese Ashe went first and Sarr went second and like
Yeah.
Reed Shepard went third and he played in the G League as a rookie. It's like, ugh.
Jim,
This
what's the
class
most
is
recent season that you're comparing just for reference? for a great
I've
freshman.
gone back. I think I'm using box plus minus as like the most objective kind of thing. I've gone back 10 seasons, and 10 seasons ago there was a class with this much depth, but this year the amount of star power is equivalent to like the last 9 years combined. It's
Hmm.
just crazy how good the top end is.
We're okay. College basketball's gonna be okay for
Yeah,
now.
it should make hopefully for an awesome March too. Some standout
Yes.
performances, attract people's attention, etc. Mixed in among those headlines, Illinois winning at Purdue. Well, Kai, the Boilers have now lost three straight.
Yeah.
They lost at Indiana. They're kind of in a little bit of trouble right now. Is it a temporary rut, or do you think they get out of it soon? They're a little bit banged up. I think they have like some real time off. They Tuesday to Sunday time off, and then they have a whole week off till Saturday. Maybe Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Renn get fully healthy. They figure out the right lineups. Are you a believer in Purdue or not right now?
I guess I'm still a bit of a believer. I know Matt's not. I watched the
Nope.
Indiana game. It wasn't that inspiring. I couldn't really put my finger on it necessarily. TK Armed had a good game that game. He had what, 23
Oh,
points.
against Indiana's front line? Wow, that's great. Nice job,
Well, I'm
TK.
just saying he's
Terrific.
a little bit back from the dead, but they don't give me the warm and fuzzies. I can't put my finger on it. Matt's been calling it out for a few days now, a few weeks. So I don't
I'm
know. What do you
out.
think, Matt? You're out.
I'm out. I think the Wagler game, I don't want to overreact to it, but I think that was just like the glaring roster hole that will be exposed at some point in the tournament. And the fact that I'm just not confident that TKR and Braden Smith are going to be 110% healthy the rest of the year, and that bothers me. So, yeah, no, I'm scratching Purdue off my legitimate national title contender list.
Wow, coveted list.
Yeah, I think the thing that's kind of stood out to me too, and besides the wing defense, which is going to be a problem anytime they play a decent wing, like imagine AJ DeBonsa against this team. He would torch them. They have nobody close to being able to guard him. But Daniel Jacobson being not
Yep,
all
not
that good,
yep.
and their
I
2 point
missed on
defense
that.
stinks, and Omer Meyer being not good. Like massive, massive hype. There was stuff in the preseason that was like he's going to be their second best player behind Smith. It's like now he is somewhat unplayable at times. They've got nobody else that can create besides Braden Smith. Lawyer's not making shots right now. I tend to agree with Matt. I think they can make a Final Four, but if they've got to win two games against top 10 competition, top five competition, I'm not sure they can do that with their interior defense and their just lack of size on the perimeter. Tennessee, on the other hand, had a big week, one at Alabama, one at Georgia in overtime. Their offense really drove it. It's the Gillespie and Ament show. Matt, are you back in on Tennessee after two road wins, or are you still skeptical?
A little skeptical. I actually added them to my portfolio. They were pretty underpriced just because I think I got, I don't know, I check what my actual price was, but just they're projected like top six seeds still because they've done enough and their schedule's kind of, they have plenty of opportunities. Um, oh yeah, they were like 125 or 150 to one somewhere. So I was like, yeah, I'll just grab that. And yeah, you have the best player on the floor in any game, but I still don't trust their bigs and just the secondary scoring option. However, the Ament is kind of starting to show signs. Like if he can really be the freak show that people thought, Gillespie and Ament is sort of your 1-2 punch, and just kind of be gritty on the glass, even if those bigs aren't scoring. As much as I don't trust Rick Barnes that much, Kai, not to be an old uh, anecdotal drum, but yeah, I think there's a. I'm not in, Jim. I'm lowercase I in.
Did,
Is that fair?
did you see the rebounding in that game? It's
It's a
it was
slaughter.
52
Yeah.
to 27 on the boards. Tennessee had 26 offensive rebounds. Georgia had 20 defensive rebounds. It was just an absolute slaughterhouse, and they still only won in overtime. Yikes.
Yeah, that's confusing to me. They should have had and they did have such a massive shot volume edge between free throws and field goal attempts. They didn't really turn it over all that much, but yeah, if you have 26 rebounds on the offensive end and the other team has 27 total,
Yeah.
you should kind of run them out, I would think. I don't know. I'm skeptical. I think Tennessee might lose at home to Auburn. And Kai, we're going to talk about Auburn and your three-man thoughts.
Yeah, real quick, we'll touch on them for sure.
Yep. Arizona consolidates its position as the number one team in the country. They beat West Virginia handily and then won at BYU. That game looked like it was going to be a runaway freight train again. And BYU does what it does, makes shots, gets back into the game. They had a possession down one to take the lead. Then Braden Burries had a heroic block to save the game. Some shaky officiating down the stretch. Sometimes refs just let you foul when you're going for the steal, and
Yep.
sometimes they call first contact. And this is one of those games where they let BYU kind of swipe some arms and were able to get a couple of steals.
It's frustrating, Jim, but I do support it in a college basketball home environment. I don't mind a little home cooking. That's kind of like the idea of college basketball, in my opinion. Arizona's nuts. I think Matt, I know you care about what Charles Barkley thinks a lot, but he's calling the NCAA
Hey,
tournament.
I like Chuck. I like
I
Chuck.
like Chuck as well.
I like Chucky.
Just I don't watch college basketball, but he said it's going to be the Arizona Invitational for the NCAA tournament, which I
Oh,
laughed
I
at.
love it.
Well, I mean, he might
I
be
love
right.
it.
They're that good. They're awesome.
If Chuck
I'm
can
very
name their
impressed.
starting five, I'll let him make that claim. I'm not sure
uh,
he's familiar with Ivan Karchenkov though. So
It is pretty crazy that like Arizona, Michigan, Duke are
way
net
ahead right
rating
now.
5 points better, 5 points better than Illinois, Houston, Michigan State, and those teams are 5 points better than like Virginia, Alabama, Texas Tech. Like when you get to the extreme ends of the tails, like the really awesome teams look really effing awesome at times.
yeah, you know what? Because you mentioned that, I'll bring it up right now. Our guy Pete K, a avid listener of the pod, sometimes sends me things we could potentially talk about. I believe it's 15 of 17 teams that entered the NCAA tournament with a net rating of 33 plus 33 or higher have made the Final Four. So he said, "Do we already know three-quarters of the Final Four? Like, is it Duke,
With
Michigan,
Arizona,
Arizona?
Michigan, yeah.
Is that
Um,
Yep.
inevitable?" See, my response was, I don't think Michigan finishes the season at plus 33. That team
I
is not
agree. I
playing
think they're
well
going to
enough.
finish like just like a little bit below that. I think they're the third best team, but they're not better than Duke. I don't think.
They haven't played like it. They haven't covered a game in the year of 2026. I think they're 0-7 against
Yeah,
the
Come
spread the
on,
last
seven
Dusty, get
straight.
it done tonight. Get it done at the A Zone. Let's get it
Yeah, we'll
done.
see. We shall see.
Got walloped last
That's a
year.
big one for them. They were able to beat Nebraska though, and they beat Ohio State, so they actually had a good week, continuing to look at more and more like a one seed. We're going to talk one seeds in my 3-man thoughts, so we'll holster thoughts there. UNC had a big win. They won at Virginia,
Yeah,
kind of a come from behind. Caleb Wilson was great. Jaron Stevenson was out of his mind in that game. That would surprise me. But then they had the midweek off. Kind of touched on Kentucky. Vandy absolutely drilled them. Kentucky fans are back to fire Mark Pope. This is the worst team we've ever had. And the swings for that team are insane. You know, they've won 5 in a row, and now suddenly it's back to the year's over. Now they have sucked on the road. I will cite a Kentucky Sports Radio stat, Matt Jones. They've played 8 games away from home, either road or neutral, and they've been down 17 plus in 7 of them, and double digits in all
wow,
8.
and they won two of them.
Yeah,
They won at LSU and Tennessee. Yeah,
yeah, it's not great.
good
They got to
stuff.
figure that out. Stop getting mauled, but I don't know if that stops against Arkansas. That's
There's a
why.
good article that I think I brought up the lineup, the closing time lineup. Like Pope over tinkers with lineups early in the game, but he's like really like he's found his best five down the stretch, and they're like the by minute splits of performance are pretty crazy. Like they've been awesome late in games for that reason. So maybe first half he just needs to keep it that way, but then you're going to run dudes into the ground. I just feel like at this point they're actually not as deep as we thought they would be. So
Can
you kind of
you
have to mix and match.
imagine Jim having a coach that could figure out his best five and just play them?
That would be incredible.
Wow,
It would be incredible.
It's a long season. It's a long season, Kai. You got
it's
to
getting shorter.
save those sea legs.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
with
man.
you. I feel like
yeah.
I'm with you. Play your best five. I mean, I
If you
think
know the
depth
best
is important, but
five, if
you
if
got to
you
play it.
figured it out at the end of the game, play it more. It's you're looking at. I'm thinking of Katherine Heigl and knocked up. Tighten, just
Wow,
tighten your rotation.
it's a obscure reference, Jim. I'm for
Hey, some people will get it. They'll like it.
it.
Let us know in the comments if you loved it. Yeah, just figure that out. Vandy did bounce back though with that win. They look a lot better. They mauled Mississippi State. Auburn had a huge week, won at Florida, beat Texas. They seem to be ascending. As I mentioned, they've got an at Tennessee date. SEC schedule is just so backloaded. And then Belmont is back on top of the Missouri Valley. Murray State has lost 3 in a row. They look awful defensively. Belmont's won even without their starting point guard, Nick McLean. Casey Alexander, would love to see him find his way to the NCAA tournament. He's been a guest on this show, fellas. So we love Casey. We respect Casey. And Belmont right now is the best team in that conference.
Yeah, never made it at Belmont. He made it at Lipscomb. He was going to make it likely in 2020 in the OVC, and then that
Yeah,
canceled. But
they had won the tournament. Like he had clinched it.
oh, he did win that. Yeah, okay. I mean, he's had the best team in his league several times at Belmont. So yeah, Valley is fun, guys. It's really good this season. It's higher than
Yeah, no, Arch Madness is gonna be great. It's just like if you're a coach, it just sucks. Like if you're Belmont, the team that's racking up a good league record, it just feels like you're not gonna get rewarded for that at all. Like at this point, if you're the 4 seed versus the 1 seed in that bracket, it's just like who cares, which is kind of a bummer.
Kai, I think you're on the page, so don't look if
yeah,
you
yeah.
can. When's the last time Belmont did not win 20 games?
Well, actually, I got off the page. So last time they didn't win 20 games,
Yes. They have 19 this year. They're going to win 20 this
it's
year.
got to be a long time because Rick Bird did it a lot as well. I don't know. Mid 2000s.
2005, Jim. I'm cheating.
Oh, you're wrong.
No, 2010.
Yeah, it's like you're cheating. You still got it wrong.
Wow,
Okay,
Rick
what was
Bird
that?
2010, they
sucks.
went
He actually didn't win 20 multiple times. What a
yeah, went
idiot.
19 and 12 in 2010. But yeah, it's been 20 plus every season since. Casey Alexander's won 26, 26, 25, 21, 20, 22. This year it looks like it's going to be 25-ish or so at least. Yeah, it's a really, really good program in Nashville.
Yeah,
All right, random stuff. We got to shout out the double Mizzou buzzer beater, Kai, because it was really cool
sure, I
and
forgot.
it sort of kept Mizzou's season alive on Saturday. They hit a deep buzzer beater, Trent Pierce for three from the logo to send it to overtime. And these are both true buzzer beaters where time expires while the ball's in the air. And then in overtime, they go down two with 4.6 seconds left, I believe. Mark Mitchell dribbles the length of the floor, pulls up with his nasty shooting form, and somehow hits a game winner for our Tigers.
Yeah, we're staying alive, Jim. Also, someone tweeted, I don't know if it's true. It's the second time this has ever happened in NCAA history that there's been two buzzer beaters in the game, like the same team, I guess. Um, so that's crazy. Yeah,
Yes, I saw the comment that I think it was like an SEC country thing. It was like
it's
rarer than
harder.
winning a national title.
Exactly,
It's
and it
like, all
is.
right, hang a
I
banner.
At this point, I just hope Mizzou goes to Dayton, and because that's kind of what we deserve this season. Not saying we don't deserve to miss the tournament because I want to be in it. So Dayton, put
Yeah,
us in Dayton.
I bet him minus 113 to miss the tournament. It is now minus 250. So
Yeah,
a
it's not
little
looking good.
line movement
Yeah.
not in the Tigers' favor there, unfortunately. But we'll always have Saturday with that incredible
Mm.
double buzzer beater game. Stat lines. We mentioned all the freshman 40s, but buried under that was the highest scoring performance of the day. Dom Daniels of Cal Baptist put up
CBD, baby.
47
That's boy.
to beat Utah Valley. Yeah, a little stud. Hey, I want him to be my boy. He was in
Oh,
my
Jim's boy.
my guys on Basket
I
Under
think he's a
Review in the
Jim boy more than
preseason.
me boy. Yeah, Jim was in on him
I wrote,
before.
I wrote it. I got textual evidence out there of
Okay.
him being my guy.
Okay.
So
Jim's boy.
Your
He's
guy.
Jim's guy.
It's your guy.
there we go. Good. Thank you. The WAC, as people may or may not remember, playing a triple round robin because there's only
Yeah.
7 teams. So the schedule is bizarre this year. Everybody's going to get sick of each other in that conference. Should be a funky tournament too. Always WAC Vegas is always a fun one. So Don Daniels, arguably the best player in the league, 47 points. Not the highest scoring performance of the year because Dennis Parker for Radford had 54, I believe. But man, Daniels went off. Some bad losses, and I'm just kind of just using this as a place to throw some dirt on some teams. Creighton lost by 25 at Marquette. You can't do that. Marquette's really bad. The Big East is creeping ever closer to almost a lock for three or less teams in the NCAA tournament, so that's not great. And Dayton has lost three in a row. They lost at LaSalle
Yeah.
and St. Joe's, and then at home to Rhode Island. Kai, can you tell me how many losses to teams ranked 200 plus in Ken Palm that Anthony Grant has had in 9 years?
So it's actually high, right? I think I saw.
16.
Yeah,
16 in 9 years.
I saw our guy Sully tweet this or a while back, and I was like, it's so weird because Dayton's good every single year. They're at the top of the A10 every single year, but I guess they take these weird losses. But I was thinking, like, okay, you get one of those maybe a year, maybe two. To have three in a row, to have Rhode Island, St. Joe's, LaSalle, who I don't think, I mean, Rhode Island, whatever, but I don't think any of those teams are that good this season.
At home, too.
And
Like UD
yeah,
Arena, they lost.
that's shocking to me. Losing to LaSalle, my goodness. But it is crazy. I don't know how many years Grant has left at Dayton. I know they're kind of getting antsy. It's a shame that he didn't get to play in the tournament as a 1 seed. I think that might have changed some perceptions, but his time is probably short there.
It
Yeah.
just sucks. They play in the A10. Like this is again like the issue, the pins and needles that SLU will be walking on coming down the stretch. Like
I think they're
all
pretty close to at
downside,
large.
no upside.
SLU at
So,
least.
well, I know, but like you lose twice and it gets dicey, and you could easily lose twice.
Yeah, but you can't lose that number 224.
I agree.
That's
But again, like I
that's
think LaSalle's
unacceptable.
way better. I mean, they got their three best players back. They didn't play like the
You're an
first 2 months of
apologist.
the
You're
year.
a LaSalle
It's just like
apologist.
that's what we're navigating here.
I think it was PD Buckets, a George Mason account that tweeted us. Do you know what percentage chance Loyola Chicago has of beating SLU at SLU per Ken Palm?
What chance they have?
What percent? Yeah.
Man, they're down to 320 right now.
Extremely
Jesus
low. Wait,
Christ.
Loyola's 320.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
Fordham is 200, Loyola is 320. Team that I thought was going to maybe compete for the title.
It's got to be like low, like 5% chance, Jim.
It is 0.4% chance they would win 1 in 250 matchups per Ken Palm.
Unbelievable.
That's crazy that it's stooped that low. Yeah, weird year. Dayton maybe the forced retirement route coming for them. But that is it for we saw that, fellas. Let's get to three-man thoughts. And Kai, I'm gonna let you lead it off. We've kind of hinted at both of your thoughts, so you get to choose whichever direction you want to go in. A little bit of love for two teams that are deserving right now.
Yeah. Okay, we'll start with Illinois because the other one's a bit of a quicker hitter. Quicker hitter? Yeah, that makes sense. Shining light on Illinois. And hey, I'm not a biased guy. I'm a Mizzou fan, but I can recognize real when I see real. The Illini are really good, and they're not getting a ton of attention nationwide. Number one offense in the country right now, 9-1 in the Big Tens. They're tied with the Michigans. I think Michigan State's up there, Nebraska are up there for tied for the lead. Quietly number five in Kempom, and Jim will mention in the one seed talk, sneaky, sneaky dark horse for a one seed. So they're in play. They have elite rebounding, they have elite shooting, they have elite shot selection. So put those all together, and it's very, very strong. And also, by the way, they're the biggest team in the country. Nobody in the country is bigger than them. They need Kylan Boswell to come back to reach their full Final Four title contender potential. Um, is he out for the year, by the way? I actually wasn't sure.
No,
No, I think it was
it's a
just a month.
wrist.
He should be
It's like
back.
4 to 6
Yeah.
weeks or something. Yeah.
They need him back. Hopefully, he's back for the tournament. But having an NBA first rounder all of a sudden in Wagler is significant. And everyone else on this team is rock solid or a stud. It's just every single player that Underwood throws on the floor. And it's funny in the Discord, we have some discourse about Petrovic, a guy that we thought was going to be a key part of this team, and Underwood's not even playing him. He's just buried on the bench. It's pretty crazy, Jim.
Yeah, he's utterly useless, and his biggest flaw is defense, which Illinois is already
It's
not
yeah,
awesome defensively, but they're good enough right now. They are like the Kalkbrenner Creighton teams where they are
exactly.
dead last nationally in turnover rate and number one in foul rate.
Hmm.
Like you are going to make jumpers to beat us. Like you know exactly what shots are going to be open as you go into the game. It's not going to be kick out threes. You're not going to be getting to the line, but you can live in the mid range. They're going to give you those pull ups. That's why Illinois is ninth in average 2 point attempt distance allowed. You're giving up those mid range shots, and they choose to win the math battle there because they take a ton of triples themselves. Yeah, the one thing that's super confusing with me to me with them is that Wagler's not in the top 10 of Ken Palm's
Right?
National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
His usage rate, I guess, is just not quite high enough. But if you have the number 9 efficiency rating on 24% usage for the number 5 team in the country, you're an All-American in my book. It's an
Yeah. And
All-American in my book, coach.
I'll I'll count 2021 when Cockburn came off the bench, but so this Creighton team's a really good comparison with the defense, meaning like, okay, can't force turnovers, don't foul. So they made two Sweet 16s in the Elite Eight. I think that's what holds Illinois back is the inability to do that. Now on the other side, they are a way better offensive rebounding team. Those Creighton teams were. They're a better offensive team. Those Creighton teams were, and they're in the same range as defensively overall. So I think there's a higher ceiling for this Illinois team, those Creighton squads, but it will hold them back, Matt. That's the one limiting factor for them.
Yeah, I've been trying to think of like what's all these elite teams like. What's their kryptonite matchup or scenario in which they lose? Like Illinois is similar to Nebraska in that Nebraska is more of like a shellish. We're going to pack it in, but in Illinois is like if you just get a like a Kingston Fleming's just mid range assassin game like that's I mean that would beat any team, but really you can see a situation where just someone's getting really comfortable in the mid range in the tournament against Illinois. But other than that, man, I love this team. Like they're just
Really good.
really effing big and really solid and Humrickhouse and Davis have been killers in their super specialist roles. Like Humrickhouse looks much better this season, like super fluid and draining threes and active defensively. he looks like one of the Bosnians. He looks Bosnian this year. It's like
I'm
it's like
gonna
he's
There you
embraced
go.
his identity.
I'm gonna like throw a little bit of cold water on Jake Davis as a killer because I don't think you need to
He's
play
been
him.
solid though. Look at their turnover
He's
rates. They
hitting threes.
never turn the
He's
ball
hitting
over. I
threes.
know
Yeah,
it's easy when you're just catching and shoot, but
I
like
It's
know.
like
part of their superpower
Wisconsin-esque.
is they don't turn it over. Do
He
not
moves
Remember
the
turn it
Wisconsin
over.
ball.
had those
He hits
insane
threes.
offenses. Yeah.
I just feel like he's a bit of a waste of space. To be honest, I think they could not play
Oh,
him and have the same results. Sorry,
poor
Jake
Jake.
Davis.
Poor Jake. Great lettuce on him though.
Hey,
Was
he's
Illinois is just
started.
like a fantastic aesthetic watch because they
Yes,
don't foul and they don't get to the free throw line. So you get a lot of flow in the game, and that's fun to watch. So I'm sure Illinois fans are enjoying it, and quite honestly, I've enjoyed watching them this year as well. So respect, tip of the cap, Kai.
indeed. All right, I pass the rock to
I'm going to take it
Jim.
because I think the one seed discussion is a perfect transition
Perfect.
point,
I
pivot
have a
point for us
piggyback
here.
thought off Jim's one seed talk.
Good. I love it. Nobody knows what Matt's thoughts are, folks. So we're always not sure how to transition to them.
Ooh.
But the betting markets and like the odds are definitely heavy to the top four right now. Arizona, Duke, UConn, Michigan. The probability there is fairly high. Bart Torvik gives them respectively Arizona an 81% chance, Duke 63, Michigan 54, UConn 44. So UConn actually less than likely to get it because they haven't been performing that well and they could take a loss or two in the Big East that would sink them. But they're really high end wins above bubbles, so they deserve to be up there. My question is, who do we think is most likely to overtake one of those four teams? You got Houston in the picture, Illinois, as we just mentioned, Michigan State. If they beat Michigan tonight, suddenly they look real prime for that position. Iowa State's kind of become forgotten because they haven't played a big game in a while, and they still won't for another couple of weeks. Their Big 12 schedule is really backloaded. Nebraska's right in the mix because they've only got one loss and they've picked up some big wins. Just looking at Bart's tourney cast, Nebraska as the most likely 36% chance, Illinois 25,
Wow.
Iowa State 24, Gonzaga 21, Houston 19, all very much in the mix for a one seed. Matthew, which one of those teams do you think is most likely to overtake? And do you see UConn or Michigan as more likely to fall off the line?
I think Michigan. Um, and I'd probably say Houston is my one to overtake. You
Wow.
probably better bracketology feel Kai in terms of where they're at and the resumes, but just from team caliber and vibes, that would be my choice there.
The the
The
UConn
huge
thing
game
is
tonight, like we had this discussion after the Michigan State game. That's gonna change the calculus a little bit too.
the UConn thing is really interesting to me. Their quality metrics are 11, averaging. Like KenPom, they're 13. That's not a one seed. That's never been a one seed. So if they lose one game all year, I guess they have to be. But it's going to be interesting. Now they have like they're 9-2 against Q1, Q2. That's pretty elite right now. But by the end of the season, they're in the Big East. It's not going to grow that much, and you're going to see teams in the Big 10 and Big 12 start to balloon in those areas. I think UConn falls off that line again, unless they go 30-1, in which case, yes, you have to give them a one seed.
Yeah, their opportunities for wins above bubble just aren't that strong. And if they get past in that department and they're not as strong in the quality metrics like Kai mentioned, I can see them slipping. They just keep beating these teams barely.
Mm-hmm.
Like every Big East game, that just like Michigan, they're 0-7 against the spread in their last seven. They're not playing all that well, and that's why they've slipped so much analytically.
And I do want to point out, I think WAB is a resume like a resume stat, so it would be more for selection and less seeding. But the NCAA makes up the way they do brackets every single year, so you really can't
Oh
be
yeah,
sure totally.
yep,
But it is
they
a
sure do.
metric, correct? Like
It's a
they're
It's on
metric.
the
considering
team
it.
sheet.
You're supposed
Yep.
to have it's supposed to be more based on quality. Your actual seeding is supposed to influence it more.
I don't like that.
Well, that's how you get Wichita
Well,
State out of the eighth
I don't
seed.
like you're saying they're caveating its use, like they're
I'm saying they're inconsistent with their use, with their application
okay.
of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're willy nilly.
Yeah, and generally it
shocking.
makes sense. What you did gets you in. What you're gonna do gets you seated a little
Yeah,
bit.
a little bit.
There should still be some of both mixed in
Yes,
there.
agreed.
I'm just saying UConn's quality metrics, like they've got to stay elite in WAB, or they're gonna fall. Like if they fall off, they've got some incredible non-conference wins. That's why they're ranked so high in wins above bubble. They're third nationally right now per the NCAA's official site. So right up there in the one seed region with Arizona, Duke, UConn, Michigan. But man, Michigan State's coming, Nebraska's coming, Illinois is coming. They've got big games ahead. So does Houston. UConn's got to sweep St. John's and then just kind of hope that their
Yeah.
quality metrics linger or stabilize. So
Yeah.
we'll see there. I kind of think there's a chance both Michigan and UConn fall off the 1 seed line, and then you get one of these other Big Ten teams to step in that's playing better, whether it's Michigan State or Illinois, and then I think another Big 12 team could get there, Houston or Iowa State.
So there's shakeups, Jim. There's shakeups coming. Maybe.
That's my prediction. Jim's
So
forecast.
take some plus money out there on 1 seed. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, looking at the weather. Looking at the weather right
So
now.
here's my to show the how
Yeah,
thin the margin
take the baton, Matthew.
to how thin the margin is for these 1 seeds. Shouts to my dad was bored doing some research. So I kind of outsourced some
I was gonna say
Shout out
you
Mr.
just
Cox.
enlisted your
diligence there.
father.
Shout out
Yeah,
Mr.
there
Cox.
you
I think this stat was plastered all over Twitter, but last time there were 3 unbeaten teams. 20-0 was 1976, Arizona, Nebraska, Miami. Nebraska no longer undefeated, obviously now, but same year, by the way, the Hoosiers won last undefeated season of any college basketball year. But there were 5 teams at that point, and still are, with 1 loss. And for the exception of Gonzaga, the other 4, Michigan, Duke, UConn, SLU, basically were tied or had the ball either up or tied within 10 seconds. Like Michigan missed the 3 to tie against or to go ahead against Wisconsin. Duke missed 2 shots in like the last 10 seconds against Texas Tech. SLU, the infamous free throw debacle, Stanford, and then UConn had the ball to tie or win against Arizona.
And then Gonzaga lost by 40.
And Gonzaga got killed by 40.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's it. Cool.
Oh, so you're saying thin margins. So
like
who's going to win?
It's crazy we had 3 teams at 20-0. We could have had like 6.
So elite teams this year.
Yeah, I think that's. I didn't think that was going to be the case. I think that's where we're at, though.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of the bracketologists have tweeted this. Another college basketball account tweeted it. But the top 10 in the AP poll had 13 losses at the start of the week, and I think like 11 of them were to other teams in the top 10. Like the top has not lost to the middle like at all this year, and that was the lowest number of losses by the top 10 in a long time. I think the next closest was like 21. 2 years ago, the top 10 had 34 losses at this point in the season compared to 13. Like there's just a little more separation at the top, and it makes for potentially, Kai, we talk about this every year, is the bubble bad? But the bubble could be bad if nobody has wins over these top teams. Like there's no headlining resume topping wins. Like nobody in the Big Ten's knocked off Michigan State or Nebraska. No bubble team in the ACC has gotten the Duke win. Like suddenly the bubble starts to look a little weaker. It's
Jim,
a
here's a
byproduct.
here's a math explanation for this. Where are we at points per game? We're at 75 for the year. Efficiency is at 108.
Yeah.
Just like shattering.
Jesus.
Like more points, harder to overcome a better team, right? So like just the uptick in scoring as a general trend in college basketball, which a lot of the roster constructs the top teams have leaned into, but that's sort of like aiding this. That's a tailwind, as we'd say in consulting, Kai, for this trend.
Yes.
The Saturday slate almost landed 110 efficiency, which I don't believe has ever happened in college hoops. I've been tracking it day by day for like 4 years now. That would have been like the most efficient day ever. And that wasn't even a small sample. It was, 130 games. And it's just so much offense this year, which, hey, makes for a great viewing experience. And it has clearly helped the top teams separate a little bit.
I think we're going to have crazy ratings like Elite Eight. The last 2 weekends of the tournament will have like, I think,
so
shatter.
as long
Good
as
for CBS and whatever.
Yeah, as long
teams
as 11 seed NC State doesn't make the Final Four, then I'm good. Like
that would be a fun this year though. 11 seed Will Wade at NC State could be kind of a cool.
Okay, well, this year's NC State, fine, but no offense to DJ Burns.
Who is that?
Like, Burns guy.
Syracuse.
Wow.
Right
I love
now
Burns.
or something.
Syracuse. A Mizzou crashed Final Four.
Glory.
Okay, my rock.
Yep. Take it.
Quick hitter on Auburn, guys, because this came up in a Discord. I think Marshall in the Discord asked this question. Scale of 1 to 10. Assess Stephen Pearl, how he's done at Auburn in his first year in terms of your surprise and then, I guess, performance. A little context. So Auburn, they've won 4 straight in the SEC. They're 5-3. They should be 6-2, despite Texas A&M, like an absolute debacle against Texas A&M. They're 26 in Kempom, which is actually 5 higher than their preseason mark of 31. Their top 10 offensive team, Burgomaster is the man uh, coordinating that offense. They're 74 on defense, not as good. But objectively, they've been a really good team. Jim, I said 5 in the Discord in terms of like how I think he's doing. I don't think he's doing an insanely good job. I don't think he's crapping the bed. I thought the Texas A&M game was a horribly coached game down the stretch. So I can't get that out of my head. But he really has come back the last 4 games and been impressive.
Yeah, if they didn't have the Houston competition early in the season where they lost by one, I'd be like, well, they have no upside, but
Yeah.
because they lost by 30 to Michigan, 29 to Arizona, 28 to Purdue. But then they won at Florida too, so they've at least shown an ability to scale up there. And they're 5-3 in the SEC, and that's while shooting sub 30% from three, and their opponents are shooting 38%. They've almost got the worst mark on both ends of the floor in 3-point percentage.
Yeah.
So I actually think they're maybe a little better than they've played in conference already too. But yeah, I'm not willing to give Pearl like some super A plus. They're about where we expected analytically. I think this team with Bruce Pearl is like top 20, top 15. Like I think there's a difference there. And Stephen Pearl is like the defensive coordinator, and the team sucks at defense. So like I've got to point a little bit of finger. I know some of it's personnel. Keyshawn Hall's not getting down in a stance very often. The Hod
Yeah.
Pettiford's not overly committed on that end, and he's tiny. So yes, that hurts. But I feel like I'm giving a little more credit to Burgomaster than Stephen Pearl. Hey, if they keep playing well, we'll see. I mean, just 2 weeks ago they were 10-7, looked like they might not make the tournament. Now
Yep.
trending way up. So I guess right around where I expected, with some upside to do more. The schedule is not easy. At Tennessee versus Bama versus Vanderbilt at Arkansas. Have fun over your next four.
Yeah. Everything about them right now, Matt has them at a 7 seed ish.
Yeah, that feels right. I was gonna give him like I think I'll give him a B. I think I agree with Jim. I think his dad
Well,
would have
scale
had
of 1 to
them
10. So, yeah.
a B. Yeah,
So,
That's
so
not
no,
on a scale of one to
a
10.
eight.
7,
Here's like
6.
he's pretty good. That's a
Yeah.
I
D.
think he's been fine. Yeah, I didn't love the roster preseason. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I didn't expect this team to be that good. So maybe I was a little too low, but um, I tell you what, I think Keyshawn Murphy is like critical to this team because it's not really a defensive type of team on the perimeter like the guards and Keyshawn Hall is. I don't really think he's like a difference maker defensively, but Keyshawn Murphy is like kind of that critical piece that looks like a fraction of what they had, under Broom and the big boys the last few years under Pearl. So I think he's done a solid job. I think it's the roster was never great, and he's righted the ship. I give him credit for it.
All right.
Okay.
That's
All right.
Auburn quick hitter. Jim.
All right. Mine is my second thought is burying some teams from our preseason top 50. So it's a little
Oh,
bit of
no.
mea culpa
Oh,
for
no.
us. Got to take some shame here. Marquette is already dead. We have buried them.
Yeah.
Mississippi State already kind of dead, and I think we've buried them a little bit on here.
Ugh.
Maryland is beyond dead. They have been
Uh,
buried for a while. So those three M's, we're just going to shove them in a locker. But Creighton, I think, probably deserves this treatment. They're 65th in Ken Palm, only a 3% chance at an at large per Bart Torvik's tourneycast. Baylor, they're still lingering near the top 50 in Ken Palm, 52nd, but they have a 1% chance at an at large. That is coincidentally the same amount of Big 12 games that they have won so far. Singular, uno. They're 1-7 in the conference. They're horrendous defensively. James Najee hasn't helped that. And even in Big 12 play, their offense hasn't been good. So I'm not sure what they have to rely on. K State down to 86th in Ken Palm, a 0% chance at an at large. And Oregon,
yeah.
I'm gonna take a little bit of a mulligan there because we talked constantly about how they were the most prone or like injuries could wreck
Vulnerable.
their season.
Yes.
Vulnerable. Thank you. Yes. And not only did they lose Shellstad, then they lose Biddle. TK Simpkins didn't play last game. You could argue that's their three best players. Well, they're barely inside the top 100 and have a 0% chance at net large.
Yeah.
So, Kai, we can't get them all right, but that's seven we surely got wrong.
Yeah, that's a little high, 7. I don't know if that's higher than average. Oregon, we can still take the loss there, but it's so hard to determine how good they'd be with Shellstad and Biddle full time. They suck. Kansas State, man, holy cow! Like, is Tang done?
They were posting about his buyout in the coaching carousel thread in the Discord, and it's still pretty high, unfortunately.
Really? I mean, this is the third straight year they're going to significantly underperform Kim Palm. Uh, it's not been good since the first like incredible season in which he somehow got what's his
Yeah.
name back from
Inherited Noel and got Keontae Johnson
Keontae
back from
Johnson back from
a
a heart
heart
thing and
issue.
worked out. Yeah, it's not looking good for Tang, man. Holy cow,
Yeah. Money's not the problem either. Like they invest in the roster, they pay, they
they are
just pay the
choosing the
wrong dudes.
wrong dudes.
They
Yes,
paid $2 million for Andre Kostic, who like can't play. I don't know how much they
poor
paid
choice.
for Abdi Bashir, who like no one ever thought he could play a lick of defense. And lo and behold, he couldn't hold up in the Big 12. All he
Can
could do
shoot
was
though.
shoot. Yeah, he can shoot, I guess. That's it. That's all he's got.
Shear's
But
career
yeah.
3-point percentage, by the way, is higher than his 2-point percentage. Just letting you know.
Well, Kai, you could cut off an arm and still weigh more than him. So
Yeah, what?
uh,
Let's see. What they got him at? 175? Wow. He went from
that guy
160 to 175.
that guy does not weigh 175 pounds. Yeah,
160.
roster construction's been bad. And you go back to it, like, what if Jerome Tang didn't have insane OT luck, where he won
Yeah.
his first like 10
11?
overtime
Yeah.
games? So I just, it's not working. It's not a good fit. He hasn't been able to figure it out, and I think Kansas State fans are unfortunately going to have like a lame duck season next year. It's not going to be fun for them.
Yeah, he won his first 12 OT games, Jim. Then he lost last year to Drake in overtime. So he's 12-1 as a head coach in overtime.
Benny McCollum got him, I guess.
Wow.
A couple teams that I'll swing this positively briefly. We had Nebraska in the top 50, and I think most people thought that
Nice.
was silly. And obviously, we only had them 49th. We should have been
Yeah.
even higher, but I think that was a unexpected spot for them to be in, and that looks pretty good now. Texas A&M in the top 40. They're atop the SEC right now, and I don't think they're the best team in the SEC, not even
Oh,
close. But I think it's pretty solid to have them there. Miami, Florida, a team that I don't think a lot of folks were real high on. We kept blind faith in St. Mary's, which I think has aged reasonably well. It wasn't all disaster,
okay.
Kai, but
Okay.
there's a couple others. Yeah, I'm sure Michigan State fans are like, you had us outside the top 25. Well, that's another topic for another pod. But
Yeah.
just had to take the L on a couple of
Can't always be
those
perfect.
teams that are clearly not top 50. Yes,
Yes. All right. Well, Matt left, so I guess we'll move on, Jim, to game previews.
early, yeah, early cutout from that. He
He
should have
might
been
be
getting
back. You
till
never know.
8 a.m. Yeah. Hopefully he didn't have another thought. I think his one thought was like 10 seconds of his dad's research, but that's fine. All right, let's get to game previews. Yeah, Kai, we mentioned Michigan, Michigan State, the battle
Excited.
in the mitten, giant one tonight. I kind of like the home team. I just think they've been
Me
more
too.
consistent. It's a great setup spot with drunk fans and rabid crowd. I think Fears tortures Elliot Cadeau on the ball. Cadeau had 8 turnovers against Nebraska. Sam Hoiberg was giving him hell. I
Sam
think
Hoiberg.
Fears can do the same.
Guy's
Nice
solid, man.
player.
Solid as a
Nice
rock.
player. Yeah.
Hey, your dad was a NBA player. What do you know? Jeremy Fears, Jim, top 10 Ken Player of the Year, if you can believe it. So
Yeah.
he's had a heck of a year. I like Michigan State as well tonight. I do. We mentioned the 0-7 against the spread staff of Michigan last 7 games. But what's the number one thing you need against Michigan? It's size. And Michigan State has it. They're going to stand up in the paint. They're going to make it difficult to score in the paint. Now, you have to score in the paint against Michigan, which is not an easy thing to do. And Michigan State doesn't have great shooting, but I think the zone takes them over the edge today. So give me the Spartans. I know Matt likes. He say Michigan. He wants
I
Dusty.
think he likes
He's
Michigan.
polling for Dusty. He said.
Yeah. I think big key here is transition game. Like which team's able to run, which team's able to keep the other one out of transition. Michigan is devastating when they run. Like those long outlet passes from Ademata gets going and they get a couple alley-oops or layups or dunks going the other way. But Michigan State is so good in transition defense, despite being awesome on the offensive glass. That's just like a constant Tom Izzo staple of discipline there, avoiding that. But of course, Michigan State loves to run with Fears, and Dusty May's team's also very good in transition defense. So if either team can get a leg up there, it's probably their edge. But I like Michigan State to get the win. Saturday, BYU at Kansas. Kai, everyone's talking about Debansa versus Darren Peterson,
Is he gonna
but
play?
there's a lot of other factors. Yeah, Peterson is expected to play per
Okay.
Bill Self. A lot of other factors here. Those two probably don't even guard each other. It's probably like Kennard Davis on Peterson and Trey White or Melvin Council on Debansa. But what are you looking at there between those two Big 12 squads?
Tough. I'm gonna give the edge to Kansas at the Fog. It'd be a great game, but I Kansas' defense is just so lockdown. And I actually think I like a Trey White attempt, Jim, on Debanza. That seems like a pretty good selection. If you're going to make a selection in the country, Trey White's not a bad option. You're not going to totally shut down Debanza, but I think he does a pretty good job of at least containing him enough to where Kansas can win this game. So I like Kansas to win.
Yep. I like the Kansas had a full week off. That helps. And I know BYU won at the Fog their first time joining the Big 12. That was with Mark Pope in charge. I don't think that happens. I don't think lightning strikes twice there. I think Kansas gets the victory. Matthew, tell me about BYU Kansas.
Uh, I'm torn there. I actually kind of like BYU. I had a couple of fun nuggets, possession, shot volume, monsters, and I guess losers. The three worst power plus like A10 Mountain West WCC teams in terms of shot volume, effective possession ratio: Colorado State, Creighton, and Kansas. God.
That surprises me.
Very surprising.
Huh. Huh.
So
Okay.
just fun facts for no one tell. But no, I think BYU is actually kind of my lead in this game.
Okay.
But
All
I
right.
do worry
Madison,
about
you're on the road
their
Cougs.
non-big three. Kennard Davis is kind of their key. If he doesn't play well, they have no other recourse for supporting cast.
Yeah, he hit 5 threes against Arizona, and they still were down 15 in that game. So at home, do you get a second straight good game from him? I don't know. I'm skeptical there. So I like the Jayhawks. And you got Texas Tech at UCF, revenge game from last year. UCF is actually good this season. UCF won at Lubbock last year, but Texas Tech's had a whole week off, Kai. And is there a team in the country that needs it more than banged up 40 minutes a game from Anderson and Toppin, Texas Tech?
I can't believe that UCF is 21st in resume. That's how
8 seed,
they
baby.
beat Kansas and A&M. Am I missing
Yeah,
something? I don't.
competed with Arizona. They've been pretty
Yeah,
darn solid. But yeah,
I
like
don't know.
at Texas A&M is doing a lot of work for them right now.
Yeah, there you go. Well, okay, I'm not a believer in UCF, so put it shortly. They should have lost to Arizona State, and they could have lost to Colorado, and they got smoked by Iowa State. I think Texas Tech wins this game.
I do too. I think they win by 10.
Yeah,
Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, UCF, I give them credit. Speaking of the opposite of Kansas in terms of shot volume, and they've been one of the best teams in the Big 12. They're just so good on the glass. And you get Jermichael Stillwell, it's keeps you in games, and I think their offensive style has caught some teams by surprise. But I'm with Kai. I don't really believe in them as like a long-term team. 8 seed still shocks me. I think Tech wins easily. The rest is huge for Texas Tech. It's just like McCaslin's probably so fired up about the schedule spot.
Yep, they got Mosley back last game and he looked good, and potentially Bamgoy back this game. It could be a choppy reintroduction for him in the lineup, but I still like the Red Raiders. A couple more. Texas A&M at Georgia. Have to talk about this because Texas A&M is number one in the SEC right now, sitting atop the league with only one loss. Matthew, I think they pick up a second one here. Georgia's lost two straight off that overtime heartbreaker, but A&M has had the week off and is playing super well, so you could go either way.
Yeah, I guess my traditional spot gut would agree with you. I think A&M might win this game though. I just don't know if I trust Georgia. I'm questioning my like, hey, Georgia's for real take I made 2 weeks ago.
I think
I think
they're good.
they're very good, but like look at their SEC rebound rate. Like it's sort of like Vandy. I think we mentioned this. Like they're just not that big relative to their SEC peers. And I think against certain matchups, them and Vandy are two teams that can get exposed. Now, this is not one of those matchups,
Exactly.
but I still think A&M. I think it's just done. I'm just down on this A&M team. They're starting to. They're
I,
starting to.
yeah,
There's more upside there. There's more room to run for
I
the
like
stock.
A&M. We ranked them. Hey, a top 40. Love Bucky. I don't think they win this game. They can't punish Georgia's weakness, which is the glass, at least to the extreme that other teams can, and they can handle the ball. They have multiple ball handlers. I think that plays well against Bucky's press. It's going to be a really up and down game. It's projected 75 possessions and 171 points.
I'll take over 75 possessions.
Yeah, I think so. It could hit 80 the way these two teams run. I'm excited. I do think Georgia wins.
Yeah, they're both top 12 in shortest possession length offensively. I
Yeah.
think you see this really ping pong back and forth, and could be a live betting game for those that are wagering. But I like Georgia ultimately to get the victory. And last but not least, Kentucky at Arkansas. It's the John Calipari Bowl. I got to give Greg Waddell credit on BBOC. We recorded it last night. He talked about how last year Arkansas season was dying, and then they go to Rupp Arena, get this huge emotional win, and suddenly take off and end up making the Sweet 16. Can Kentucky do the same? Flip the script on its season, go to on the road, beat Calipari. Kai, what do you think? I have kind of said it already. I think Arkansas smokes them, but what do
Yep.
you think?
I think Arkansas destroys them. Yeah. I don't like this version of Kentucky, despite the recent winning streak. Again, I think the Vanderbilt game is closer to what you're going to see down the stretch. Um, they were just in shambles during that game. You saw the play where they had a miscommunication on taking the ball out when they got down like 20, and
Yeah,
they did the whole thing of handing the guy the ball and then he steps out to throw it in, but he already threw it in. It's that sort of stuff. That's just a bad vibes thing, Matthew. So I think Arkansas runs away.
I mean, this will be an absolute insane atmosphere. Can't believe that Arkansas went into Kentucky, a much better Kentucky team last year, and won. That was sort of the John Calipari, haha. I think he gets two in a row here. Yeah, I don't know by how much. I don't know, but I think they win.
yeah. The Kentucky vibes, like I know they've had the comebacks, but they've also been down big and they've just made a bunch of shots after they've gotten down. I don't think that is a sustainable blueprint at all. And I'm with Kai. I think this looks maybe not as ugly as the trip to Vanderbilt, but Arkansas dialed in at Bud Walton. How's that gone for opponents this year? Like, yes,
Yeah,
LSU sort of hung around, but they were locked in for Vandy. They were locked in for Louisville. They were locked in for Tennessee, and those are all double-digit plus wins. So I think that's more what you get
Yep,
from the Red Raiders.
agreed.
All right, Kai, let's go to some reviews and wrap it up.
Review time. Here we go, fellas. Two reviews. I kind of gave you guys a small lead this morning, so like 15 minutes of lead time. So the first one, the spoiled dehydrated expired orange from K Watt 1217. First of all, he says he likes the show. Heck yeah. He's a Syracuse fan, and it's January, and there's another sad and depressing season upon us with red coaching, says the review. It feels like this team has a ton of depth, skill, and talent, but they're restricted by the coaching staff. Outside of Syracuse, outside of the Syracuse media realm, does it feel the same way? And then he says, also, what other teams are comparable to Syracuse? The athletic ability, but the incompetence at head coach that seems to hold them back. Well, I will say the perception is the same for us, I think, with Syracuse. It's clearly a talented team. Red's not a fantastic coach. He's holding them back. Jim, a couple teams that came to mind for me. Cincinnati has all the athletic talent in the world. A team I thought would had a roster to be good, and Wes Miller has not been impressive. I mean, Mizzou comes to freaking mind on this particular topic, especially with the lineup combinations. Any thoughts for you?
Yeah, I'm trying like Providence, I think, is kind
Yeah.
of underperformed. What I mean, they just forgot to recruit anybody that cares about defense.
Arizona State almost every year except this year because they don't have the talent this season.
Yep, yeah. I would throw some shade at Mississippi or Mississippi State, but I just don't really agree with how either of them recruited. Georgetown's got a little more athleticism this year, I think, than typical, and it hasn't helped all that much, despite beating Providence and DePaul back to back. So yeah, I understand the frustration with Red, and I think it's probably time to move. These like internal blessing promotions from
I
the
know.
prior head coach, you got to win a little quicker. You can't. There shouldn't be a bunch of rebuild, refigure it out transition period if you're the continuity hire.
Yeah, I'm just generally out on continuity hires for the most part.
Hmm, we'll see.
Wow, from
Sorry,
John Shire
out on
himself.
John
out on like
Shea.
head coach, the head coach handpick thing. I just don't like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it's working out for Duke,
Except
but
for
it's
John
good.
Shire, who
Yeah.
I'm okay
Okay,
with.
from okay, DeBole, S DeBole, S DeBole, 059. Question. Loves the pod. Uh, he's a Creighton fan, and he's baffled on how bad Owen Freeman has been. Definitely the worst ROI transfer this season. Could you guys rank the top 3 to 5 worst Power 5 transfers so far this season based on lack of production, money spent, etc.? Well, I think Freeman is very close to number one. What was he, 2 million or something like that?
Yeah, we don't know exact numbers, but oof.
I mean, that was a clear miss. Heck, last year AJ Storr could have taken that award going to Kansas. Jim, do you have a couple other names? I know you had that handy dandy sheet.
I got
I
a
sure
name.
do.
I got some
Oh,
Wrote down
Matt's
a
got a
couple
name
before we
too. Wow.
see if Matt. I'm gonna go
Oh,
first and see if I
yeah, go,
steal
Jim.
Matt's name.
Yeah, you probably will.
I gotta throw some shade at Sebastian Mack because that
Oh
was
my
just a
gosh,
terrible,
forgot
terrible,
about
terrible
that.
selection by the Missouri Tigers. Then a couple others I wrote down. Brendan Hausen at Iowa,
Yeah. Oh,
awful. Like clearly hasn't worked. We all loved it. Thought it was a great fit. That hasn't worked. Nathan George, Syracuse. He's been
Yes, number
horrendous
one.
to go back
That's my
to
number
our
one.
our previous
Absolute
question.
liability. Big reason why Syracuse has not been good this year. Totally
Yep,
agree.
he stinks. And then this one, I think everybody kind of saw happening as it happened. But Desmond Claude to Michigan or to Washington, like
yeah, nothing.
why? Didn't need him. Hasn't been good. Hasn't been efficient. Hasn't really been part of much of a winning team in his career. So those were five that jumped to mind. I'm kind of scrolling through my list. Matt, did I miss any other names?
No, there really haven't been like any missed. Like the guys who missed were more like say injury related. But yeah, but I wanted to
Caleb
mention.
Banks at DePaul has been doo doo. I think a DePaul account tweeted like Owen Freeman shaking hands with Caleb Banks in terms of
That's good.
underperformance.
That's a good point. Yeah. I think Indiana fans would say Reed Bailey. But yeah, that's
He's been
there's not a
okay.
ton of like
Yeah.
holy crap misses. There really isn't. I mean, I know people are pissed off at Xavier Lee from Florida, but like I don't know has he been like an outright liability? I mean, he
Yeah,
still
he's not like a
plays good.
total
Right.
disaster.
Yeah. So
Hey, it's not everything, Matthew, but Reed Bailey, by far his best offensive rating of his career this season. By far.
I know it's not
129.9.
he
That's
can't
really good.
doesn't play any defense. He
Yeah, not
sucked.
not playing defense, but
Oh, Jim, how about this one? Other hand up for me. Kyan Evans. Like,
yeah.
I don't
Oh
think he's
yeah,
very
I'll
good at
let you
all. And
take
I
this one.
think Derek Dixon has like very clearly like they should play him in Trimble, and then Evans should be like a off the bench floor spacer. I just think
You're
my other
excited for
thought,
him.
but I was my other thought was
He's
going
not
to be
even
my
making
ace.
shots.
No, it's, I mean, he's shooting well. It just
No,
totally
he's
when
not.
you watch.
No,
31% from deep.
it's bad. Yeah.
31%.
No,
That's
he's
bad.
not good. But my other thought was going to be I think the ACC is like kind of have a sneaky good tournament. I think there's a lot of good teams that obviously when you're in conference play, you don't really get a chance to move up, but there's a
Better
lot
league
of
this
good.
year. Yeah.
Like you look at, I think SMU honestly has my attention. I think North Carolina is being kind of slept on. We all love Virginia, and NC State will wade. They can sneak in.
Clemson's
Clemson we
rock
like.
solid.
Yep.
Miami
Louisville's actually the
competed with
one team
Florida
I'm
and
relatively
BYU.
lowest on, and
Yeah,
Miami as well is sort of a team I stubbornly believe in. So
Yeah. All right. Those are reviews, Jim.
beautiful. Thank you everybody for leaving those. If you want to, if you're listening and you want a question answered, just drop a review in there. We love a 5 star, but hey, do what you got to do and leave a question, and we'll answer it at the end of the pod. That is it for this week. We'll be back tomorrow, Saturday, 10 a.m. Central, on this very YouTube channel, talking best bets, going through as many of the games on the Giant Saturday slate as we possibly can, taking questions from the chat if there are specific games you want to discuss. So tune in there. And of course, you can find us on Action Network BBOC on Monday mornings. You can find me on Stats by Will and Jim on Wednesday mornings. And we'll be back on this very program on Friday next week. Might have to shuffle the schedule around coming up soonish. We got a bachelor party in February that we might do a Thursday record,
Mhm.
but we'll keep you all tuned in there as that approaches. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the support. Thank you for